So welcome everybody. We're going to be doing a little bit of Link to the Past rando here today. Angel had just gotten into doing these randos and stuff like that. And so we are going to, I'm just going to play through a rando and kind of talk like through all of the different actions that I'm taking as far as like decisions I'm making, why I'm making those decisions. The biggest thing that I can preface before I even do any of this is, you know what, we're gonna make wrong decisions and we're going to go the completely wrong way and probably pick up items and stuff that we don't need to necessarily pick up. But that's just the way that randos go. Things are randomized, so you never know going into it exactly where things are going to be. So with that being said, I may make decisions that you may not make, or choices that you may not want to. Oh yeah, I forgot this thing's all jet. Is it from Saturday? All right. And so, we may go the completely wrong way and could have gotten something like crazy easy. But that's what happens with rando. Sometimes that happens. So with all of that being said, we're going to be doing an open mode today. So we will start without the sword. And I'll talk through just kind of actions first off. So first thing I like to do, I like to start in Link's house so I can check this first chest. Got a heart piece. I'm not going to really worry about that right now. And I immediately save and quit. Because I want to go ahead and go to Sanctuary. So I can get another chest without having to do anything. And look at that. We already got blue mail. So we are pretty much invincible. One thing that's pretty wise to do initially is to immediately when you get onto the world map, check your map and see what places are crystals. So we've got a crystal in Hera and we've got a crystal in Eastern Palace. So it's just good things to note initially to know what dungeons you're gonna have to complete, because you don't necessarily always have to do all of the pendant dungeons, but you will have to do all of the crystal dungeons. So then what I'll do is I'll come up here, we'll go ahead and grab this tree here. Oh, we're supposed to kill something first, but we didn't. So we killed something now. Doesn't really make all that much of a difference. Because what we are doing is we're coming up here, checking the, what's commonly referred to as Aga Cave, to check and see if there is anything here. So we got a big heart there, so not necessarily means that we have to take on Aga, but doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't. So one of the things you want to note when you come in here, if you can't see what it is, just come down here and see what's up there. If it's something like gloves, hook shot, a bow, you maybe like fire rod, something like that, chances are it's probably a Aga required seed. So you know immediately that you're going to be kind of working initially to defeating Aganim. So just something to take into consideration. So you'll be looking for specific items like the Master Sword possibly, or even the cape plus the cape might be a thing to get into there. So there's kind of a bunch of different ways that you can do that. I'm killing a bunch some enemies here. I actually didn't even keep track, but alright, well, let's go up here. And the next thing I'll do is I'll come up here and I'll grab whatever this item is. In this case, it's just going to be 20 rupees. Not really the most useful thing, but it might be, because we have an item coming up here pretty soon that will require 100 rupees, so it's good to get some rupees kind of early. Hey, more heart pieces. I personally don't even track heart pieces on the tracker, because you get so many of them, it's just kind of a waste of time to keep pushing it personally. Yes, and so that's a thing too. So I mean, in the event that it is an Aga seed, or it's not an Aga seed, you'll at least have another entrance to the Dark World. Now, if I was doing this smart, I would have killed an enemy before pulling that first tree, and then killed 4 enemies without getting hit and pulled that second tree, and I would have gotten more money. But it's been quite some time since I played Link to the Past, so I'm not gonna do that here. So now I like to head to Kakariko. One thing I want to talk about here. So usually when I'm doing randomizers, I almost always work in like kind of a counterclockwise fashion. It's just the way that it ends up happening. So you'll notice as I do this, that's kind of where I'm going. I'll come in here and check first because there are 4 chests in here that we can get to without bombs. Hey, perfect. And usually I just want to get bombs, preferably before here. Just one thing of bombs is fine. So we got nothing important, but we did get bombs, so we can actually at least check these other caves here. Thing to note, so you can get 30 rupees from these blue rupees, and they refresh when you leave the house. So if you are... I usually like to get 100 rupees before really even doing much in the town. After I've checked everything in the town, I want to get like 100 rupees preferable. Yo, Dracul, how you doing, dude? And Aries, sorry, I missed you. Because I want to be able to buy the item that the bottle salesman has for 100 rupees. So we're come down here, go ahead and grab this. Hey, we got ether. So that may or may not be useful. So, and we got a sword and more bombs. Yeah, but that would require getting the gloves and going to the desert. So, like I said, I'm only talking about what I would do. So, boom, I just traded 100 rupees for 300. Seems like a pretty good trade. We're gonna come in here to the chicken house, as there is item in here. I would recommend, if you are newer to the randos, there is a map that you can download that will actually show you where you can go based on what items you have, and it integrates with the tracker. We got the moon pearl. So this is looking pretty good. So the first kind of things that I usually am looking for is I want the moon pearl, I want, and then I want some way to get into the dark world. So that would be either having the hammer, or potentially, I mean, we can go through Aga, we can get couple gloves. Yo, 2 snake. Dude, we gotta come up with a game. So yeah. So I usually, if I only got 1 bomb pickup, I always blow up this one because these are free bombs. So you just come back in here and it's free 4 bombs every time you come in here. So you can get your fill of bombs so you don't have to worry about it. That's why you're here. All right, dude. Check in the back of here. Grab this chest right here. Hammer. That's a pretty big deal because we can now enter the dark world. Well, we'd like to get some gloves too. Any gloves would be. No, I've played through them all recently, so it wouldn't be blind to me. Well, I guess Rockman and Forte, I've never actually ran it. I've never even watched it, to be honest. So we go into the library to check to see what item is there. So in the event that we get boots, we know it's there. Now, you can check to see what item is over here by walking this way. I usually don't do this, but you can check and see, okay, it's a piece of heart. So it wouldn't have been worth it. 9 times out of 10, I just go through the house anyways. It saves minimal time, and I'm usually good on bombs. So now I'm going to continue heading down here. What you can do to move quicker, we can go ahead and save and quit. So if you're really trying to save time, saving and quitting can help you a lot. So now we just teleported back to Link's house. Instead of walking around that little bit. And so we're gonna check to see what the flooded item is here at the Swamp Palace. So there's two items to check here. So we have the first chest that's right here. And if you have the mirror, you can use a mirror while pushing the block and it'll make it disappear. We do not in this case, so it's not something really here. So we're just emptying the water here so that we can go ahead and grab whatever item is sitting there. And in this case, we find ourselves with 4 bombs. Not even gonna pick them up because we're at capacity. And so then what I would typically do is come down this way, and then we're going to check this cave here. A little mini Moldorm cave. And if you are newer to this and say you're not wanting to slash, you can actually just hold your sword out and you can poke them. Well, typically you could. So you can just poke them like that if you're not wanting to like do mad slashing. Hey, more bombs. Hey, more bombs. Okay, so we got a bottle. So it's important to remember that we got a bottle so we can go back to the sick kid in Kakariko. And so now we can get that item from him. No, I don't know what that is. What the hell? Get out of the way. And so I'll check this early, because for some reason I've had so many times where there's been gloves up in this, in the Ice Rod Cave. But yeah, I've never even heard of it. What's it for? Yo, Retrosexual! How's it going, my dude? The crabs are like the worst enemies here in the game, especially initially, because they hit you hard. Nice, dude. Mega Man Do mod. All right, so we got ourselves a heart. Now if you're doing like a normal, I will show you a trick you can do. Actually, I won't. I will not show you fake flippers or anything like that, because that would technically be sequence breaking, and I don't want to sequence break because it can make the logic. You might miss something because of it. So we will go ahead and do this here. Alright, so now that with the items that we've gotten, we are going to head over to Eastern Palace. And so the reason we go to Eastern Palace, in most cases, so up until now, this is pretty much the same items that I would get every time that I play the game. This is usually the course of events. I mean, if I'm in like a race, I'll tweak it, but for like a casual like play, this is a pretty safe bet to make sure you're getting what items you need. Oh my god! All right, so we got a mirror. We've got some silver arrows, so we're gonna be able to haul a little bit of ass through this thing here. And we'll go into Eastern Palace and we will check some chests. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention about going into different dungeons is that if you are checking the items in the dungeon, now if you're using the emo tracker, not only will you have that map that you'll be able to use, but it'll also give you a number of how many chests are in each dungeon. Now, if you've checked like all of the chests in the dungeon, and let's say you have not found the compass, you know that the boss is going to have the compass on them. So that's just something to be aware of. Or say either there's the boss left to kill, and then there's 2 chests, and there's 1 chest, and you haven't found the map or the compass. You know that the boss is going to have either the map or the compass, and the last chest in the dungeon is also going to have the map compass. So you don't, if it's a, let's say it's a pendant, you may not even need to, finish that dungeon at all. Alright, so we got another bottle. So, like, for instance, I've opened 2 chests in this dungeon. There's technically 3 chests left, and then the boss. So there's technically 4 things left to check, but I haven't gotten the compass or the map. So that means, obviously, you know, I have a 50% chance that I'm going to get the compass or the map in the next chest. I remember we used to be good at this game. I could get two there. So here, we got a map. Oh, and actually, you can check these things, and these will tell you, will give you hints of some stuff going around. Hey, boots! I will always take boots. Even though I could do this blind, I'm not going to. Because we are in open mode, so it would stop the, we wouldn't have light. And it's not difficult once you know them, but I'm trying not to do some of the stuff that I would do that I would recommend more for, like, advanced playthroughs. So now let's go ahead. We got boots. So let's go ahead and check a couple more locations. Pegasus boots and silver arrows. Dan is ready to fuck shit up. Right? I'll go over a couple little tricks and stuff like that, but for the most part, I'm going to try not to do any sequence breaking. Hey, so see, perfect that we went up here and checked that little area there. So we've got gloves. So we now have access to the Dark World. Typically, when you have access to the Dark World, I usually try to beeline it to the Dark World. Because if we have all of the things we need to get to the Dark World, chances are our next item of progression is going to be located in there. And this is something that's just gonna kind of come with time of doing more of these randomizers. You'll get kind of a little bit of a sense, like the game kind of pushes you in the direction of what you want to accomplish next. So, because the game has given us everything to go to the Dark World, the game is basically more than likely trying to tell us to go to the Dark World for the next items of progression. Now here's the big thing about Randomizer, and as I said initially, you might go a completely different way than what I would go in these cases. And that's 100% alright. We're going to make our way into the Dark World right now. So we are going to do that here just a moment. So I wanted to check the sick kid. Remember how I said we got the bottle? So I wanted to make sure that I checked that off my list. So now we are going to make our way into the Dark World via the teleport up here. Which honestly, like 9 times out of 10, is the one that you end up getting to the Dark World from. Especially like your first dip into the Dark World. So, it's a thing. So since we have the hammer, we can go ahead, use the hammer on this guy, do this thing, dangle thing, and we are in the Dark World. So in the Dark World, I treat it kind of like the Light World. Because I usually enter this way, I end up making my, I usually make my rounds in a counterclockwise fashion just because it's the way that I personally play it. But I want to try to get everything out of here that I can. So, not only am I right now working on, you know, just kind of getting areas and stuff, we're doing pretty good on money. So money is important only because we want to eventually have enough money for Zora if necessary. Which we won't necessarily know until later. But now that we're in the Dark World, we know that we can check anything that we can kind of in here. So we are going to actually dip into Thieves Town because it's right here. Because we can check several chests prior to doing kind of anything else. And so we're going to do that. We got 4 chests to check before going to the like second half of the dungeon, and one of them is always gonna have the big key. So we already got the big key, and we got one of the other 2 chests. So we're gonna check 2 more chests here. Hey, look, we're regular Link right now. So we're gonna go ahead and check this chest. And then we're going to check this one here. Alright, so that's all we got there. But now that we got the mirror, we're just gonna bail out of here. Now, you can complete Thieves Town if you want. We have the hammer, so we do have everything that we need. But let's check our map, because we didn't check it right going in here. What is it? I didn't even see. Okay, so yeah, it is a crystal. So let's go ahead, let's just complete Thieves Town because we can. Now, typically, especially if you're starting off, and you're newer to the game, you may want to put off doing Thieves Town kind of initially, as Blind, it tends to be one of the more difficult bosses for the beginner at A Link to the Past. However, when you do like a quote-unquote optimal blind, you'll be able to do it all the time. Oops. Yeah, we're just being awesome here. Yo, hardcore! How's it going, my dude? Yeah. Dude, blind for as initially is a pretty tough boss. And I would say that you know, speedrunning, like learning the game wise and stuff, like my first like big hurdle was figuring out how to do blind properly. Like it was my first like experience into what, you know, you call like a run killer kind of thing. Even though he's really not that difficult once you like, oh whoops. Once you get used to it, but initially it definitely is. And a lot of times, because we're in the Dark World, if I'm close enough, I'm gonna use the hammer, because it does more damage than in this case, the fighter sword. Which the fighter sword is, you know, pretty dang weak. So we can actually kill these guys with one hit with the hammer. Or you can use the skulls to deal damage as well. Now, Fighter Sword Blind is not the most fun. Master Sword is better, just because the sword itself is longer. Now, if you just dash and there's a key on the other side, oh, I didn't get the key. Dumb. Actually, okay, we got a map. I'm gonna go kill, Blind. So this means that, so real quick, before I do anything else, I want to show. So this means blind is going to have the small key. Now you'll notice that I don't have the map. That means that that big chest is going to have the map in it after I get the small key from blind. So we do not have to come back in here because I don't need to go get the map after we're done. So we just need to kill blind and move on. So that's what we're going to do here. You'll want to practice blind, but he's pretty consistent once you have like the strat down. It's been a while, so I might do poorly, but that's pretty much blind. Oh, okay, never mind. So the key actually is going to be in that big chest. So we don't need to come back here at all, though. We're gonna bail. Only a couple dungeons will allow that to happen. So we got our first crystal. We could go to, whatchamacallit. We could go to Skull Woods. I usually don't because I don't have the fire rod. Now, the thing that you gotta be sure of is because we don't have Titan's Mitts, once you make that jump, you can't go back. So we're gonna do the digging game. Because we have the rupees for it. 80 rupees to do digging game. Yay! Alright, so we got another bottle. Oh, I guess I can mark a crystal down because we got it. Not really all that important. And so since we have the mirror, we're kind of going to this area here, so we're gonna do this here. Hey, 5 rupees. Don't need them, so we're gonna leave. And we want to check with the flute kid, wood boy, whatever you want to call him. And now we're gonna check the illustrious hype cave. So you can throw a bomb here while you're talking to him. The bomb will go off. Saves minimal time. Man, you're getting us some bombs today. Well, we got some dust. Hype cave, not too hype. But then again, honestly, most of the time it isn't these days. It was in the earlier versions of the Randomizer. Not as hype anymore. Sometimes it just can be. So one thing that you can do here, too much work for me, I'll just enjoy the people who run randos, not play them. So one thing you can do here, since you use the 1.0 version of Link to the Past, if you press your dash and your hammer at the same time, you do what's called a hammer dash. And so you can see I'm running with the hammer. It's pretty cool because you can do stuff like this. Just makes things faster. The Soten Rando's just, honestly, Soten Rando's easier than this. Because there's so fewer items. You know, and I won't go into all of the stuff that you can do, but you can also do... Is it? If I could do it. So you can use spin speed. And that requires doing a spin slash and then hitting your dash on the frame after it goes off. Or after you let go, so It's pretty easy, but what you can see here is it'll make it so that you can't use your sword until you load into another screen, take a hit, or bonk or something. Now this is not typically a whoops. Definitely not the faster way to deal with this is coming up here and checking catfish, but you can do it. And since we have mirror, we can go ahead and mirror up here and check the Zora items. Like I said, there are so many different possibilities of where you can go in this. It just kind of dependent on what you want to do, you know what I mean? The thing about Randomizer is they're all dumb moves until they pay off. Like, that's the biggest thing that I can say about it. Is, you know, a lot of people will beat themselves up for making wrong decisions. It's, you know, there's chances that, there are higher chances that, you know, certain things are going to be in certain places, but it doesn't always pan out that way, so you definitely don't beat yourself up if you make a decision that's technically wrong. Alright, so 50 rupees up there, not really important. We'll check with Zora. Since we have the rupees. And Zora has for us. Paid 500 rupees for 20. Perfect. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is now we can go into Dark Palace, we can go into Desert. So we're gonna go into Desert, or no, we can't go in Desert, I'm sorry. So we're actually gonna go into Dark Palace. Or Palace of Darkness, as some make it. So the big items that we are looking for right now, flute is always a solid pickup, because obviously that helps us traverse the map and stuff quicker. We could, you know, we could use flippers. Whoops. We still have money for Kiki the Extortionist Monkey. As far as, like, you know, traversing the world and stuff like that, you'll just get better at that the more you play the game. I did that little up-down move so that Kiki didn't have to walk as far. I mean, they're small time, like, time optimizations. I'm not really gonna mention a lot of that stuff because it's not really important for, you know, especially beginning in randomizers and stuff. But they are a thing. Palace of Darkness is one of the more difficult ones as far as routing goes. Just because there's so many different chests that you can get and where they are and whatnot. What? I was above him. So Big Key's cool and all, but we don't have the lantern. And the pod, dark room can prove challenging. Boom. So that was a very important pickup for us here. Chances are that's the only thing that we will need in here. However, because we are in here, we can go ahead and check another chest. So we're gonna do that. That doesn't require any form of, you know, sequence breaking or anything like that. But Titan's Mitt's always a good pickup. Now we don't have the bow, so that's something that locks off a lot of the chests near. Oh, we don't have the key. So yeah, we are actually done until we get the bow. So let's bail. But we have Titan's Mitts. We're gonna come up here to Sanctuary. Since we got Titan's Mitts, it makes it quicker for us to check this. We can come up here, lift up those, dash this grave, and we can come into this guy here. And we are rewarded handsomely for our efforts. So now we are going to make our way back to the Dark World. We have quite a few things we can check. So we can check the Skull Wood stuff. However, since we just got the Titan's Mitts... Oops. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's check this. Sorry. Going through like a bunch of things in my head. So we're gonna check the Batcave, but we can check that actually by doing this first. Sounds good, Hardcore. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Alright, so now we're here. We are going to go ahead and rescue the Blacksmith. Since we have Titan's Mitts, we can do such a thing. So remember when I just taught you how to do the hammer dash? This is the most important part that you would want to be able to hammer dash at. So once again, pressing hammer and dash on the same frame allows you to do this. Just a time save. And we'll grab it. Get back stuff, so. Go ahead and turn in the old dude. Come back in, talk to him, and receive our tiny shield. And we're gonna come down here and check the Batcave while we are here, because we have the hammer and we also have the dust. So, once again, since I'm not trying to do any sequence breaks, one of the main things we're looking for right now is the lantern. Because that will allow us to go up to Death Mountain. Or the flute, because that's another way for us to get to Death Mountain. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this guy. Now, typically, if I was actually racing this like in a tourney race or anything like that, what I would do is I would do what's called fake flippers, and I would already be swimming, grab the items required for swimming, gain the knowledge of knowing where some of the said items are. I would go through the cave and rescue the old man, which you can do all of these things with whatchamacallit. What am I talking about? You can do all of these things without the lantern, sorry. Now, another thing that we need to check, and this is actually, once again, something that I've you know, I've already waited too long to check. So we can check that. We're gonna grab the one in desert, but there was another place that we could go that will have more opportunity for us to find some stuff that we should have already checked, but we didn't. And so that place is actually the escape. So that's one of the things when you're doing an open mode seed that I always tend to forget, because the game doesn't make you go through there and check it. So we are going to do this, then we're immediately going to save and quit, and we're gonna go check the escape. All right, so we got this, the blue cane doesn't really do us any good, but however, if we would have checked here earlier, we could have used that perhaps on blind if you were having trouble with blind. It's a good option to help you take on blind. One thing we're gonna do before we save and quit and start back at our house is we're gonna work our way over here because we want to see what item is up there. Okay, so that's an important item. We can't get it yet because we don't have either the book or the flute. You need either the book or the flute to be able to get there. But it is just, once again, knowledge is power when it comes to the randomizer. Knowing what you can get and where it is a lot of times more important than half the time than what the item actually is. Knowing if you need to go back and get it. So since we didn't do the, what the shit? Since we didn't do the escape, we're gonna check the escape. I have a funny feeling we're gonna find a lantern. Or, I mean, hell, we could find a lot of things, but... Hey, our fourth bottle. Thank you, Uncle, for handing me that fairy while you lie there dead. Hey, hook shot! Yo, 8-bit! How are you doing, my dude? Alright, so hook shot is one of my favorite things to use, just kind of on the regular, because you can just do stuff like that. Dude, the hook shot is very OP. And see, we could have checked this earlier, so this could have been something that we could have had a long time ago. What? That was weird. And as far as like movement and stuff like that, you'll get used to it as you do it. I'm not used to having boots in here, so I'm like moving quicker and making enemies that attack me that typically wouldn't. Pretty valuable item there. And we already have silver arrows, so that just unlocked a ton. So see, we should have gone to the escape earlier. So like I said, you're gonna find that as you do randos, you'll make wrong decisions as far as from a standpoint of completing them as quickly as possible. Now we have pretty much everything we do need to make a lot of movement here. So we're gonna go ahead, and I don't even know why I'm using this pot at this point, because we can just do that. Now we could save and quit. To get to our house, but we're already there. So here's something that's going through my mind right now. So one thing you want to look at for randomizers is you want to try to minimize movement kinda whenever you can, as far as like, you know, overworld travel and stuff. So what we want to do right now is we are going to head and make our way back to Palace of Darkness now that we have the bow and arrow. And with said bow and arrow, we are going to get the chests on the right side of Palace of Darkness. We are going to be essentially hoping for the lantern. We'll at least get one key so we can progress further into the Palace of Darkness. But what we really want is we want the lantern. That'll allow us to complete the Palace of Darkness. and also will allow us to see an Eastern Palace as well. And go up to the Old Man. Like I said, typically these things wouldn't matter and I would just skip them, but for sake of this kind of like information sesh, that's kind of the way we'll be working through it. So now that we have the bow, we can go to the right side here for the initial part of this. Actually, wait, I don't know why I did that. You can get through it with dashes. Oh, you bitch. Oh, yeah, we can use a hook shot here like this. Well, sometimes... blah, blah. So we're gonna go this way because we have gotten a key, so we can actually get up to this other chest here. Go ahead and use the mirror because it's faster. Palace of Darkness is one of those places where when you don't have the mirror, everything sucks. Because moving around just takes forever. I like to throw that bomb over that ledge there so I don't have to worry about doing it in the dark room. Hey, flippers! Okay. We still didn't get the lantern, so we're gonna save and quit out of here. And we're gonna go to Dan's house once again because Dan is cool, as you saw by the name. And we are actually going to head to Swamp Palace, which is everybody's favorite dungeon. I do like swamp. Uh-huh. Swamp ass. So we are going to go to the light world. So we do this. And remember when I was talking about you can use the mirror? Go. Make blocks disappear while you're using them. Only works in like cave type situations, and this technically counts as a cave. You don't want to accidentally try to do that in a dungeon and, you know, teleport your ass back to the beginning. Oh man, if we had the Master Sword, that would have been cool. But no. Gonna go ahead and grab bombs because it's gonna be the first thing we need once we go down the stairs. Next thing we'll need is the hammer. Actually, the hammer or hookshot? Forget. Hey, that's Sanctuary Heart. So Sanctuary Heart is the heart that's located in the Sanctuary. For when you typically rescue Princess Zelda. It's the only big heart in the game that refills your health for doing it, for grabbing it. So little tidbit of info there. And so by hearing this music, so here's another thing. Even though we haven't looked at our map for a long time, and you may have forgotten, the music that's playing right now is one of the Light World dungeons and will only play in the pendant dungeons. So I can tell you right now that this is a pendant dungeon, which means that this dungeon isn't necessarily needed for completion. We'll probably end up completing it because we're going to be in here, but it is a little tidbit of information for you. Because the music changes between the two. Well, I mean, you can always just look at the map, but yeah, if you forget. Alright, I'm gonna show you something that you can get yourself in trouble with when you have the hook shot. So because you have the hook shot, we were already able to grab that key in that skull and come up here and do this, right? Stupid. Small. Sword. So one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to pull that switch before grabbing that skull down there. Because that switch is going to make water appear in that area, and you will essentially do what's called flooding the key. For the very obvious reason that you are flooding the key. Which means you won't be able to come down here and grab said key. Which means you will end up having to mirror and come back and do this whole part again. So, don't flood the key. Now that we've grabbed the key, we can go ahead and do this here. So another thing you want to watch out for, a lot of times the game is set up so that, like, so this thing only shoots fire when you attack. Now, if you are dashing, that counts as attacking. So just be aware of that. If you're trying to dash by that thing, you'll get yourself blasted. We're gonna go over here, because there's a heart right here. Not that I really necessarily need it, but I'm just kind of going over all the stuff that you just kind of see here, so. Now, since we have the hook shot, we can do these, we can check these chests quickly, but these two chests are the notorious ones for wasting your time. Because you have to go through so much to get to them. And look at all that awesome stuff we got from it. Sure would love a sword upgrade. Also, one thing I want to just mention real quick. So when you're walking up to a ledge, you'll notice how usually you have to run for a bit before you fall down. So it's like run, 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 and then you jump. If you want to jump instantly, just hit the dash while you're going against it, and you'll jump instantly. We haven't gotten the big key yet, so we're gonna go beyond this. This is one of the dungeons where you don't need the big key to actually beat the dungeon. You bitch. Hey, big key. So since we got the big key, we can go ahead and check it. That way we can totally cross off everything in this dungeon while we're here. I hate this stupid glitch. It's only these stairs that you come up all stupid-like. So another thing, just kind of a little tidbit of info. While the hook shot is out, you are invincible. You have iframes. So you can't actually take any damage while the hook shot is out. As soon as the hook shot hits something, you can take damage. Just FYI. Now I'm gonna show you something just in case. Just because we're here, I'm gonna finish this dungeon out. Now we did get that map and compass, so we know that these last two chests are potentially items. So we're gonna go ahead and check there, and then whatever Argus has on him. But I'm gonna show you how to do this fight in the event that you haven't gotten the Master Sword yet. Because logic-wise, that may happen to you. You may be here and not have the Master Sword and have to kill Argus. Because you actually can't hurt him with the Fighter Sword. So it's annoying. What you have to do is you have to hook shot, switch to hammer, hammer. So, and if you're good, I'm not, but you can get more than one. Like that. So just hook, hook. Back up so you don't get jacked. Now chances are you won't have to do this. It's pretty rare that you actually have to do this fight ever without the Master Sword, but just something to be aware of in the event that you do. It may come up. God, I suck at this. Definitely tell I haven't played this in a long time. Oh. So yeah, this fight's super annoying when you don't have the Master Sword, at least. What? How'd he hit me? You can actually hurt him with the Fighter Sword here, so you can just do spin slashes. So if you're, you're not wanting to use the hammer obviously be faster, because you'll be here forever. Because this does jack shit for damage, but... And that's how you beat Argus without the Master Sword. Now we'll get our pendant. Yo, BK. I'm trying, Flib. Yeah, we were actually making it for, I was making this kind of like a little tutorial for Air Angel, so I'm not doing like any sequence breaks or anything like that. Alright, so we can go ahead and mark this down as a pendant get. No, let her struggle, right? Alright, so now that we've completed out that dungeon, which once again, we didn't really have to, and I probably wouldn't have, typically. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna check for a couple locations here now that we have the flippers. Yeah, I just clicked the thing. So here we can check the island. 10 arrows. You don't necessarily need. I'm just gonna go ahead and bail. Yo, Mo! Doing good, dude. How are you doing, man? Long time no see, my dude. We're gonna go over here, check this. red mail, even more invincible than we were previously. I like the way Dark Link looks. Oh, evil as shit. Now, before going into Ice Palace, which would be one of the next things that we can do, we're actually going to... Is this a... I can't remember if this is... No, this is the wrong... Oh yeah, no, this is the right one. We're gonna check a couple chests in here. How did the rest of the runs go, Flib? Hey, there's that pesky lantern we were looking for. So remember when I talked about using fake flippers and sequence breaking and such? That would be an example of why we could have done that. We could have gotten the lantern way earlier by doing a trick called fake flippers. Yeah, I saw you were having trouble with the internet. We got to see that connection screen. So with this, we could go right now. We could go to Palace of Darkness, then do Eastern Palace. So that would be a good decision. What I want to do is actually, I want to get up to Death Mountain. And the reason we want to get up to Death Mountain is because there are so many chests for us to grab there. So let us get better equipped for said treks into those dungeons. That's good, dude. It's summer now for you, right? So maybe a little bit better as far as time goes for that. Okay, so another random thing to note. What the hell? What's a Windows fax and scan popping up? Interesting. Dashing with the old man is pointless because you actually go like just as fast not doing it, so. Alright, we're gonna come in here real quick. That's really odd. Like Windows fax came up on my thing, like people fax things. Okay, so nothing good there, but we have the hook shot. And we have everything we need to get to do some other stuff. I'll show you another trick here. So remember when I was talking about spin speed, you can do the same thing with the hook shot by using the hook shot and dashing at the same time. So now we can go like super science speed here and kind of go with this thing. If you rock the controller left and right, you'll move upstairs a tiny bit faster. Once again, information that you don't necessarily need to know. You just faxed me something though, right? Now we could have checked to see what item this was before doing this, but don't really matter. It shouldn't matter. I'm actually just gonna save and quit because now that we've rescued the old man, we can start with the old man. And it's faster than us going through that whole thing. Talk to him if we want to get back our health. So, go ahead and grab your hook shot, press hook shot and dash at the same time, and then move with the speed of, I don't know, fast. Until you get hit, and then you lose spin speed, but... Also, let's take a look here again. So, we know we have a crystal dungeon as Turtle Rock. That is always the scariest part of any rando, because Ice Rod is the one item that can literally be anywhere. Oops. It can literally be in any chest in the game. Well, pretty much. show you a little trick to getting through here. So if you use the hook shot while you're moving a block, you can hook through it. They thought we were hooking through, so we just go ahead and do that. Save yourself going up and down, up and down. Or if you have the mirror out, you could have used the mirror to do that too. It can even be in Turtle Rock. That is the worst part about the whole thing. So right now, based on our progression, we would like to find the flute. We're definitely going to need Fire Rod and Ice Rod. Book is questionable. So this is Hookshot Cave. This one's usually a good one that you want to, when you can, you want to get here. Hey, we got a Fire Rod. I don't know why it's all dumb. Also, you can also bonk and then walk in the direction to get there. I'm an excellent hooker. I learned from the best. My mother taught me well. Yay, money! Quake. Perfect. What am I doing, dude? Menuing's hard. Get off me. Really? Suck it, turtle. Operation Face Tank back in effect. And I haven't played this in a while, but I feel like we're doing all right. I feel like it's kind of like a bike or something. If you're ever having trouble killing these mini mold worms, you can just switch to the hook shot. Pretty hardcore. That was disappointing. What? Run, you fool! What I'll probably do is I'll probably just do all dungeons, just so you can see, just kind of what, like, all the dungeons are like and kind of what what good, like, traversing of them, even if they're not required. What the shit? Yeah, don't forget that you put a portal there. Because Dark World Death Mountain's a lot scarier than Light World. We have the lantern, so we have a fire source as well. In case we have to go to the basement. We may have to do. May not have to go there. Whoops. Should have hit that. But we have a red boomerang. That we cannot control. And remember, you can always check these. Sweet corn on pizza is a great choice. That sounds disgusting. Does that sound like god-awful? Is it, though? I don't mind it. I don't see what all the hate is. At the end of the day, you still have pizza. Any pizza's better than no pizza. There's a little area you can dash through there if you're feeling a fancy. I wouldn't recommend it for if you're not experienced. As far as Moldorm, usually what I do is I just go with spin slashes. Stay away from him. He'll show his butt to you. There's the butt show. You do that. You just kind of rinse, wash, repeat it. And then when he goes fast, just dash through him. And you'll get that last hit. Alright, so another example. Notice how I don't have the map? There's only one chest left. That has the map. So I don't need to go to the basement. So we can go in here. Also do this thing. Because we have everything necessary to check Spike Cave. We can check Spike Cave. We have the hook shot, so we can actually do this differently. We don't have to use the cane of Baron as much. Perfect. Alright, so now we're still just kind of just looking for items. The thing with dungeons are, I mean, you know, you want to complete the dungeons that you need to complete, right? Because that's the whole point of it. But the other thing is, and actually, you know what? I'm actually gonna go and do the Palace of Darkness and then Palace of Darkness and then Eastern Palace. The thing about the dungeons is that you can spend a lot of time in there, especially if you're trying to get all of the items. And so you want to basically prioritize your movements to where you can get the most amount of items. Liberty Flam with the host. Thank you, my dude. You wanna prioritize what is going to get you the most amount of items for the time. But since we know we have to complete these dungeons, we might as well just go and complete them now. Yeah, Retrosexual, have fun at work, dude. Thanks for stopping by. Now, Palace of Darkness, especially when you don't, when you're not as familiar with the game, is the dungeon that usually requires the most, like, dipping into, like having to go into multiple times. Just because there are so many different things that you would need to progress in here. So the hammer being one of them. Lantern technically being one. As far as things that I'm looking for right now, I want the book or the flute. Those are the main two things I'm looking for. Yes. If you are newer to randos and stuff like that, navigating the dark rooms in this dungeon suck. This room in particular, this maze here. The Master Sword. We're gonna get a key. Oh, I guess not. Whoops. Oh, I remember now. Because I didn't grab those other two, even though they're like crazy easy to do in the dark. I didn't grab them. I can do Eastern Palace okay. Yeah. I mean, it helps to have Red Mail and Master Sword. Other dark rooms, you need an adult. Yeah. So, that's the glory of the hook shot right there. So, these rooms are some of the easiest ones to do without the thingy. Without the lantern. Typically, I would have already have grabbed those. Oh, stupid. Really? With my dash. Yo! B-Ran, get sued. What up, dude? How are you doing, my dude? Nice. What you eat? I went to the pool. I did some swimming, and then I hit the weights in our garage gym. That's been a productive day for me. Alrighty. Helmasaur. There's two of them. Alright, so here's a trick on how to beat Helmasaur. So what you want to do, the hammer is your best friend. mean, obviously that's typically how you do it. You can do it with bombs, but I want to show you the easy way with the hammer, or the easier way. So what you do is hold your sword out. So even if you run up, you won't take damage, because the sword poke is going to stop you. So as long as you don't keep running into him after that, you'll be okay. So what you do is you just kind of do this and get used to this. Now these always blow up in the same 3 ways, so they blow up clockwise. So it's going to be the top one, then the right one, then the left one. So top one, right one, left one. So you can avoid that. I think it's 16 of these. Now if you did pick up the silver arrows, you can just do that and call it good. Now, you can't hurt him after his face is off or whatever with regular arrows, but silvers will kill him. We now have the compass, so we know where we're going. La 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 la. And now, this is always the best part. Come out. Use the mirror that is magical and go right into Eastern because you are already there. What? What did I do? We're gonna check the other chests because we are in here. Once again, we now have the lantern, so we are capable of doing that. Hookshot kills these little, I think they're like Podobos or something like that. You can kill them in 1 hit. So you can use those instead of using sword if you want. Oh no. I ain't getting in trouble. For this room, speed strats would be just taking damage off him, not screwing this up, but using your iframes from that first one to take that pot. Hook shot to those little block thingies. What? Whoa! If you did need money and you have the lantern here early on, if you go up and right, there's a room with a bunch of rupees. We're not gonna go up there though. We don't need it. Always come into this room charging with a charged sword, because then you can do this, no matter what sword you have. I'll switch off the silver arrows for this fight, just so you can see a faster way. See if I can still do it. Nope. We suck. We used to be good at this game. Okay. Now, big thing to note, you'll see that we have both of the red crystals here. So that means we can actually get the big bomb. And this is something that's helped me in a couple of races that I've done. I usually, whenever I get the requirements to do the big bomb and do the fat fairy, I usually do it right then. Now the smart play would probably be to go to Skull Woods because we have everything that we need for it. But we're gonna do this first. There's a sword there. So as soon as you have both red crystals, you can grab this big bomb. Now, there are other ways you can do this that are, you know, perhaps quicker, especially if you've defeated Ganon, but since we have it, we're going to take the long way. And the big thing you want to be is you just want to be safe. So, being cautious here is not a bad thing. Even though you're going to want to go to the left, like, stay kind of to the right here so you don't have to worry about that Cyclops dude hurling shit at you. And then you'll just tap A right when you get next to this. And you'll get your 2 chests in here. Hey, we got the cape. So, just something so you know it. This tree right here always has a fairy if you dash bonk it. So you can always get a fairy that way. Now I could go back to the sanctuary and do something and head where I'm headed that way. I'm just gonna do it this way so you can see how to cross this river if you have the hook shot and let's say you don't have the flippers. You'll notice that there's a little arrow here in grass. It's telling you that you can hook shot over. Just a little thing. Another area that we want to check. Is up here. You want to put your little dealie a little bit to the right there. Hopefully you don't run into it when you come back. Here's another example where you can grab a bomb, throw the bomb, so while you're waiting for the bomb to explode, you can grab more pots. Hey, there's the flute. Alright, let's head back out. So another thing that we didn't check, but now that we have the cape, we would be able, the cape and the hook shot, we would be able to get. And this is something that you would want to check, kind of early on. When you can get to the Dark World. Because it, once again, it's just more information. You can check here to see what item that is. In this case, it's a small heart. But once you have the cape and the hook shot, you can go up there and get that. We won't be getting it because we don't need to. We're gonna get our flute. With the flute, we can now go anywhere. And we are looking for the ice rods, so it could take some time for us to find that. Because once again, that can be anywhere. So we are coming here to activate our flute so we can have our little, I don't know, seagull. Is what it looks like. It can't be. In this seed, it cannot because one of the crystals is Turtle Rock. So we're gonna come down here, and we're gonna go get that cane. Nope, we already know where the red cane is. We're gonna go grab it right now. Well, in a minute. We're gonna check a couple more chests before that one. We can also pull out our mirror for this part. Because we need the cane to do some of the other stuff that's required. Now we check again, is that a required dungeon? It is. So Ice Palace is the only one, is it right? The only other pendant dungeon here, and then Desert. But I'll do both of them. I'm just gonna make it an all dungeon seed. Oh, whoops. Just so that you have an idea of what they all like for instances of going. Yay, I hate Ice Palace. It's not that bad. Hey, I will take a tempered sword, though. Red sword. We've officially activated the red rocket. Now we don't have the book, so we typically wouldn't be able to get to Desert, but we have the mirror and the flute, so we can come over here and use the mirror, and now we're up on this ledge. Grab our cane. And now we're gonna go in here, because we need the big key. As long as you rub up against the lamp, or the pedestal thingy there, the big down. We needed the big key. That's pretty much the only thing that we really need, but once again, we don't know where the ice rod is, so we gotta check for everything. Got that Michael Caine. Yep. Now, we're in a unique position since we didn't have to enter this from the beginning. The normal, like, entrance area. We can actually do, we can use the mirror to expedite a little bit of our travels here. Ah, because I missed that first slash. We gotta use the mirror, come back all the way over here. La, 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 la. No, I'm not done with that. I promised Air Angel that I would do a kind of like a tutorial on these randos since she had gotten into them. So that's what's called a key dash. If you dash a door within a multiple of 4 pixels of the door, you will not bonk off the door. You will rather just go through it. So, and oh, I didn't grab the key. But here, this is actually an example. So if I were to dash this door and I had the key, we will bonk off of it. Now, if you notice, we can rub up against this lantern and see how it, like, pushes us a little bit to the left. That's actually aligning us with the door, and it'll let us do the key dash. So we can do this, rub off of there, and then we won't bonk. Pretty much anything that you... Pretty much every door in the game that you can key dash on, there's something in that room that you can kind of line yourself up with. Now, in the event that you find yourself in the awesome position that we do, and we have the fire rod, Lamp Molus with the fire rod is pretty easy. So, And actually, you can really do... There's some timing stuff you can do. So there are only like two fire rods per land mollusk to finish them. I mean, obviously with the tempered sword, it's not really much of an issue either. This tempered sword does the same as fire rods, so that's the thing. I knew we didn't have to beat that dungeon, but I wanted to go ahead and just do it so that you could see where everything was in it. Next, we will go to Misery Mire. Now, typically, what you would want to do is you'd want to do Misery Mire first and then do Desert, because you can do the exact same thing that we did for Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace. So it just saves them, you know, having to use the flute, come back here, then eventually using the mirror again to travel. It's just small time saves. Not that big of a deal, but I guess over the grand scheme of things, they all add up. You don't need the hook shot, you can just bonk there and hold right. If you have full health, which is always nice, you can do this room pretty quick. You can do it faster than that if you're good. I used to be good. So in randos, this is like the one area you want to go first. So you want to go up here. I don't know why I killed that guy, just looking at me funny. So you'll want to check that one first. Usually I like to have the hook shot out pretty much all the time. So there's always a key in here. You don't want to use it on this door though. You want to get this. So you want to grab that first. In this case, it's the big key. I'm going to still go and get all the chests though so that you can see where they are. So you want to come down here with the key that you got, because you'll always get that one key. Kill that one jellyfish dude because he's going to have a key, and then you're going to walk back through this. Because you hit that crystal dealie, and you can run up here. Grab this chest. And we're still needing to get the ice rod anyways. As far as like all the movement and stuff goes, you'll get better at all that. Like as you play it. You can use Fire Rod. And then there'll be the chest here. And I was dumb. I said it's been a while. Missing that first slash is gonna make it take too much time. Probably not gonna make it. Hey, we still made it. Hey, the map. Whatever floating ones there are there, we're always gonna nail you there. You want to always make sure that you have some bombs. If you need bombs, these little slug dudes have a really high % chance of dropping them. Just FYI. And then there's always a full magic pickup in that skull there. Easy way to do this. As it's moving, shoot the fire rod, and you'll shoot over the block. Drop down here, you'll grab this chest. If you come into this room dashing, that thing will shoot as soon as you get in there, so just FYI, you'll probably take damage from it. If you need health, you can always use the dust on these anti-fairies to turn them into real fairies. Now we're gonna make our way back over towards the beginning because we have the crystal switch set up so that we can get the items here. I don't really care about taking damage because there's another anti-fairy in this room in the event that we need health. You just walk up, grab it, call it good. You can use the hook shot here. If you're fast, you can actually do it and not even need the hook shot or anything as long as you have boots. So, just a thing. You'll always have, if you follow the route that I've been taking here, you'll always have leftover keys when you're done. If you need magic at this point, right here, this skull has a full magic. You will need magic in the next room, so you can't be out. This room here is one of the most notorious if you're playing through this dark. It's a pretty tough room. Because you have to put that on there and you have to avoid these dudes shooting you. Pretty much a pain in the ass. I was doing an item dash. Fast way to do that. I don't really explain that too much. There's another way that was discovered to do this here, but I'm just gonna do it the easy way just so you can see it. Once again, if you're low on health, this is a good place to go ahead and use it on those guys and get back your health. If you do that right, you can actually dash by him. Depending on how you're feeling, you can come up here, and the trick is take damage from the slime here, and then circle. If you have tempered or higher, I'd recommend doing that. But if you have silver arrows, just watch out that when he shoots a fire or the lightning. As he gets lower on the amount of eyeballs, he'll do that lightning skill more. Back up. And then swoosh. That's it. We're going to use the shovel that we just got, and we're going to use it on the digging spot. So go ahead and... Yeah, so if you have the flute already, you can press Y and it'll switch it to the shovel. Yay, regular boomerang! We're going to check Skullwoods. Typically, if you're doing a randomizer, and you have the ability to go anywhere besides Ice Palace, for the most part, that's usually your priority. Because Ice Palace blows. It's like one of the lengthiest dungeons to get through to even check stuff. So preferably if you're, if Ice Palace is a pendant dungeon and you don't have to complete Ice Palace, you kind of want to do others. And even if it is a crystal dungeon, you would like to get into what's called Go mode, which is where you have all the items necessary to get to Ganon. Before going to Ice Palace, preferably. So you're not spending so much time looking through all of the chests. You can use a key on that door if you've got one. However, if you go this way, you can get to the other side without using a key. This room will always give you a key. So this chest is going to be a key. Otherwise, you can get locked in this room. So, because you can drop down in here from above. We don't have the big key yet. So we can't do anything there, so we're gonna leave here and find our big key. If you have the cane of Hashra or whatever, Samaria, you can put it right there. Make this a little bit easier, because that room sucks without it. You can use the mirror to get back here, so you don't have to go back through that if you want. The room above here is pointless, but if you are needing a key, there's one in that skull right there. There's a lot of extra keys for this dungeon, which you don't... Take out ye old fire rod. So, underneath here, you'll notice that you get stuck. And on this other side, sorry. So, you're going, and you're stuck. There's actually just a skull in your way. There's just a couple skulls. On one side, there isn't, but... You can bump off those to move a little bit quicker. Gotta wait till this bunny ends. Go ahead and use the mirror to get back. If you're feeling fancy, you can dash here. And if you're fast, you can actually beat that fireball there. You can skirt having to do this thing if you want. If you need magic, there's some in here. For these guys, I mean, you can use the fire rod as such. Only if you really have, like, full magic would I recommend doing that. Or if you're low on magic, what you can do is you use the lantern on, like, 3 of them. And then use the fire rod on the last one. As long as you're fast enough, you'll be okay. In the event that you needed, health, you can always use your, dust on those, little yellow dealies. The things that turn you into a bunny. For more magic, you can come up here. The reason I'm highlighting magic is because sometimes you find yourself with Fire Rod being your best course of action against this dude. And this fight sucks, too. Thing to note when fighting him, so you notice how he flashed? Now watch if I hit him now. If he hits the spikes in the back, it actually doesn't do damage. So you have to hit him where he's not bouncing into it. It's a glitch in the game. So you want to make sure that when you're hitting him into like the open area. You can also use a fire rod to bounce him off. But you want to make sure that you're trying to hit him in the open area as much as possible. You don't want to hit him so he bounces into the spikes. So we have everything but Turtle Rock. And Ice Palace. So, we're gonna go to Ice Palace. If you found yourself, like, with a crap ton of money, you can come in here, and you can buy more max of stuff if you need it. And then if you needed fairies, you can blow up this wall here. And on the other side of this wall is 4 fairies, so you can go ahead and fill up your bottles and stuff there if you need it. But that's if you stuff, so. Now I'm going to do this without doing the bomb jump in here. But typically it would save you a ton of time. It's not a very difficult trick. It's not timed or anything, so I would recommend looking it up. So for ice movement, dashing is your friend to move in a straight direction. But if you're trying to traverse longer periods of time to keep momentum, you want to use sword slashes. That'll just kind of be something that you feel more than I can really explain. If you come in here and, because these penguins and stuff will do a lot of damage to you if you don't have good mail, you can actually use the hook shot. The hook shot wrecks penguins, apparently. A lot of times I'll come in here and I'll be charging it, and you can kill them, or I'll use it to knock that guy away from there to grab this skull. See, it's not really that big of a deal. You're not really worried about, like, optimal movements through everything. So typically what I'll do is you hit that, then you can grab a bomb, and if you throw it all the way on the edge, you'll blow up that and hit the switch at the same time, and you can just go down. Oh, whoops. Forgot to put the bomb down. So that's a glitch. If you hit one of those skeletons while he's laying on the ground, the game will register the other one that's jumping around as laying on the ground as well, and so you'll be able to kill both of them with one. So see, this one would have been useful before we went in a swamp. So a map and some cash is in the western wing of Swamp Palace. So remember those 2 chests I said that take the longest to get to and are usually a waste of time? You'd have found that out right there. So if you're setting up to do the Bomb Palace jump, this is where you would do that. It requires getting into the right pixel here and then blowing yourself across. But we are not going to be doing that just because I want to show you what it's like, you know, kind of going through Ice Palace without it, so. You can come in here, you can do a little circle dash, kill all these guys. Spin dash, sorry. Come in here and slash, 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 and dash down. Here, you can, if you probably had hook shot out, you can hook shot over here, then grab fire rod. Get both these guys. In this case, we do have the big key, so we will check the big key chest. Now, we can go down that way, but what you can also do... Remember that little hookshot trick I showed you earlier? You do it again here. And get your 1 rupee. Oops. Once you have your key and you hit the switch, use dashes here so that you don't have to worry about your side-to-side movement. Chest in this room. If you need health, there's one of these yellow dealies under this one here. You can use dust on it before you open this, or right after. So if you need health. Good place to get it if you have dust. Once you get through here, if you have the boots, use them to keep yourself lined up. You can also do some fancy hookshot work if you need to. Something sharp is under a rock in the desert. Well, we already got that, so... so you would use the hookshot here. You can just mash it here. You're usually okay until you get over. And you just kind of walk down and walk back up. Now, under that skull will make a chest appear. I usually just leave it there because we're going to get it on our way back. So in here, go ahead, hammer, throw this shit, hammer, walk down, hit that guy, pull that while he's laying there. And then you can just use a key here if you like. I could use the hook shot against those blocks. Some stuff you can hook shot to, and others you cannot. You can key dash here. As long as you don't move first, you can key dash like that. In the event that you need magic, you can get some to the right of this room. Now, if you don't have the cane, you would have to go get the other key. But we have the cane, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that here. Mostly because I just don't want to spend too much time in here. Now, if you don't have Bombos, which we don't have, you need a full magic meter to be able to use the fire rod on Cold Stare here, which is the boss as soon as you drop down. Really? So you can kill some of these enemies real quick, try to get you some. And then, there you go. I think these are hearts on the other side of this. Oh, bomb and arrow. Okay, I was wrong. But usually you can get a little bit more magic in there if you need it. So then you'll switch to your fire rod before you drop down. That's Cold Stare. Usually, if you're like wanting to be really awesome, you get them like kind of locked in that top right corner of this room, and you can kill them really quickly using some spin slashes and stuff. It's been a long time. I'm not that great anymore. But now we have the green pendant. We have everything besides Turtle Rock stuff. We still don't have the book, so we don't know what is in the, and actually, just based on where we are and what we got. I'm gonna head over here to Sahasrara, because he might potentially have the, Ice Rod, because remember, we still can't beat the game, because we don't have the Ice Rod. If you have the boots here, you can go ahead and do that. There's your spin speed again. Fast little movement things. Talk to him. He's got bombs. What the? So the thing that would make most people that watch the randomizers happy is that this could potentially be a pedestal seed. Now we do have all of our, all of the pendants, so we can check the pedestal. We don't know, because we never got the book. So let's see what we get. Ten arrows. Woo! Super fancy. Oops. Flute doesn't work in there. Alright, well, let's go to Turtle Rock. So right now, if you are wanting it to be as trolly as possible, we would find the book inside Turtle Rock, which would require us to leave Turtle Rock to go get the ice rod. Oops. That's if you're wanting it to be as trolly as possible. That'd be the trolliest move that the game could play on us right now. If it was book, which led with one of the pedestals to the mushroom, and then turn in the mushroom for the ice rod. Left one of those always has full magic. What does this even say in this one? Boots is in the Eastern Palace. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, so we're gonna check all the chests here. So we're gonna go left first. Dash along this wall. We dash back. You just want to turn around because that eye will shoot at you if you're looking at it. So that's why we charged holding down. Come up here. I'll show you the quick way to do this room here. You're feeling super fancy. Do that, fall down. Now you're back over here. Come up here. You do that so you can avoid damage, dash, hookshot over. Get you all the keys. Whoops. If you need more magic, you can grab some here. If it's your first, like, several times doing, like, Turtle Rock and stuff like that, I would recommend grabbing it. Just err on the side of safety. Especially if you have, like, dust and stuff. So you can always come in here, you can use Fire Rod on these dudes. So, that's a fast way to kill them. Now watch out for these guys. These guys do a lot of damage, so they're super annoying. Coming down here, you can switch to Dust if you find yourself needing health. This is another really good room if you need health. To kill these guys, you can also use a spin slash, and you'll hit them twice. We're gonna do this just because, just showing you where this other chest is. And we got the folded burrito. Because we got the big key already, we are able to continue onward in the dungeon. But coming back through here, you want to hit that. You'll want to go this way. Obviously, we have to, kind of in this case. You can back up a little bit, so that when you use a bomb, you're not, like, all pressed up against it. Dash out. Now we're going to be checking another location out here. You can only get to by this method. It's a mimic cave. Hey, it's Bombos. To save magic, you don't have to use the thing, you just hookshot it. Hey, the ice rod in the big key chest. So now we are officially in, it's called Go mode, which means we have everything we need to, essentially beat the game. There's a lot of snazzy ways you can do this using the cane and stuff if you're trying to be super fast. And I'll also show you this too. Go. Right, down. Down. Up, right, right, down, left. In. Oh, wait, no. My bad. Gotta hold left. Dash. You can do what's called laser skip here. So if you walk up and you dash and you're fast enough, you can grab your keys and stuff like that. But you have to be really quick. If you're not quick, it's pretty difficult. So then what you want to do is, we haven't used the cape like at all, so we can just kind of come over here. Use the cape. But as you can see, it takes up a lot of magic. In the event that you are feeling a little scared, as far as like, you know, whether you think you're gonna be able to finish it or not, you can blow up the wall down there. So, I'll just come back and show you. So, you can blow up this wall here. And what this does is, in the event that you die, let's say to Trinex, which is the boss of this dungeon, you will start right at this door instead of all the way at the beginning of the dungeon. So you don't have to do that whole dungeon again. So there's a lot of ways to get through here, depending on what your magic level and stuff is. Usually I just kind of beeline it to get up here. Always a big magic there. Which you will need. You want to do ice first? Well, this is just going to be... You'll figure this out. Watch for the tail shaking. When the tail shakes, that's when the head's gonna dash at you. Let's try next. Trenix is the only boss that doesn't drop the item where he is. Drops in the center of the room. And now we will head on over to Ganon's tower. I won't really grab everything in here though, because there's only one way you can go. Really? I guess we'll show you. As long as you have Tempered Sword or above, so as long as your sword is red or higher, you can hurt those Lynels. Otherwise, your Master Sword, you will not be able to knock them back. You'll just take damage as trying to. Okay, so here it's a gamble, kind of at first. Typically, whenever I do Ganon's Tower, I always go on the right side first. And see what I get. If I get a key, I usually complete the right side. So, we'll do that here. Since we got a key, we'll go here. This room, so there is a chest here that you can get. It's the longest one to wait for, so typically you won't want to wait. Here's a little tip of info. If you use the cape and you are holding the wall, so I'm like pulling the wall right now, you'll notice that it doesn't use up any magic. So you can actually just stand here while pulling the wall invisible, and you don't have to worry about using up all your magic. Kind of an easy way to do it. So you don't have to worry about getting hit or anything. Typically, this would be the last chest that you would check. Because it's the most time-consuming, but first times or something, there's nothing bad. If you have the cape and stuff, you can just do this. This room's just about being fast. You can do this part with bombs. It's not as snazzy as like some of the other methods, but it works. And I think there's a magic in one of these, right? A small magic in case you need it. In this room, open the top left chest last, because when you open the top left one, that's when that happens. If you did go this route, you can come down here, and on the other side of here, you will have a key. After this, you can go ahead and just mirror. Yeah, it works for both. And then you can go to the left side, which left side is statistically going to be the side that typically will have the key on it, just because there's so many more chests this way. So grab that key, because you'll always want the key. You can bonk, so you can get across that gap there. The mushroom. You can use your hook shot to stun these guys so that you can hit them. Wow, that's... Butter sword! So you have the keys. You'd want to go over here. They're really fast. You can grab that before getting hit. I mean, we were kind of fast, but not really. Here, so you can just put a bomb. Bomb's the easy way. You can use a red boomerang and stuff too. If you're feeling super fancy. You can do this as well. So you can throw this and just walk over. Make sure you grab key. Come in here. Do this thing. And walk up here to avoid everything. This guy here. Nifty little trick. You can bonk over that guy. Because Link has mad hops. Oh, whoops. So dumb. That's gross. So you come over here, and just run on this line right there. It's that last one. Jesus. Well, we got our shields. Yeah. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. Dash over here, and you can use a hook shot. You can go like this. And if you're real fancy, you can actually do a dash here to avoid going in here. I can't get back over there to show you. Come through here. Stash these guys. Take one of these pots. You dick-ass mini Helmasaur. Yo, Max! What up, my dude? And then you can actually just dash against that one and skip all that crap there. Come up here. Hey, the book! Ah, same old, dude. Just doing a little tutorial for a friend on how to get through, some Link to Past Rando. So that room sucks. You'll just have to get good. Hey! Original big key location. If it did take you that long to get the big key, you might as well, since you know you're gonna be new to this and everything. So you can come up here if you need fairies, so you can go ahead and get healed up. But you might as well just come up here through this and then use the big key here, because there might be a heart or something that you haven't collected yet. So there we go. And then you can grab that. Use your mirror to come back out, and now we start our ascent. For the rest of this, I don't really have to tell you anything, because there's really only one way you can go. It's just try to get through it as best as you can. I just walk through the spikes. Especially with how much health and stuff we have right now. Wait, why would I hit that? Oh, as if I was doing it. So yeah. So for this room usually gives people a lot of trouble. What you can do is you can walk over here, and if you have your sword out, it still registers your movement, so you can see, like, doing that. But even if you're going against a wall, so what you can do, depending on how you want to do it, you can line them up as such, and pull them in. Usually what I would do is, I mean, it's kind of hard now that the room's already done. But yeah. Here, let me use the mirror so I can show you, like, quickly how to do this room. Because the trick is too is that you can hold the direction while you are slashing at the same time. And so although you're not moving because you are slashing, they basically think that you are. So come over here, do this, grab that, take damage. You can also hold the wall, but what I'll do is you slash a couple times, get that guy to come up. And then you use this wall right here, and you can just do this like that, and they'll line up just perfect for you. It'll take a little bit getting used to. Watch out for that. And you're good. I know it just takes some getting used to. If you need what is it? You can if you want, you can hit this. But as you can see, you can make it kind of difficult, or you can just try to YOLO dash on the side. It's usually what I do. Now, let's say you're really hurting here. You're like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. You just got to make it through this little hallway here, and then you can use a bomb, throw it over here, blow open that wall, and bonk against that thing, and it'll pull you in here. And now you've got all this health, and there's even a full magic here as well. So it's a good little place to get kind of your stuff back. You can bonk back over, or you can use a hook shot. Kind of whichever you want. The place here is called the Gauntlet, so this is gonna be... Can be one of the places where stuff can get a little bit sideways. I personally don't like having full health here, because your beams do less damage than the actual thing, so I'm gonna take damage so that I can not have that. That's that. If you have silver arrows, you can use silver arrows on Lammolis here. But if you miss, you're going to experience a lot of lag like that. So they're only one arrow if you hit it. But since we have Butter Sword, I mean, really, you might as well just use that. But the thing is, you gotta watch out for, since you have sword beams, that's gonna reduce the amount of damage you have unless you take a hit. So as you can see, it took a lot of hits there. Then usually what you want to do is you want to switch over to the cane before going up here. I used to know what I was doing at this. I don't anymore, though. So you can use that cane right there, kill all those guys. Come down here. Dash through these two guys. Use a cane. Blow through that room. Dash partially. Oh, man. The odds of getting hit there are super low. Whoops. Get your fire rod out. Or you can use lantern if you're low on magic. So if you're low on magic, you can go through here, hit these, and use the lantern. So you don't nearly need that, but if you have to use lantern strats, I'll show you what that looks like. You come up here, lantern, 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 lantern. Oops. And then just dash over. I'd recommend taking those skulls. Now, if you are out of magic, got a big fill right there, because you will need. You can do this with lantern only. It sucks, but oh, I guess it helps if I actually start with the right one. Chances are you won't be lantern only at this point, but if you are, oh shit, it can be done. One of these Helmasaurs has a key in it. It's the one on the one that I didn't kill. So the one that's chasing me right now, he has a key. You can grab these chests. If it's your first couple of times playing through this, I'd recommend grabbing the chest. You never know, you might get another heart piece that fills up the hearts and whatnot. You can do this. Just wait for that yellow thing, or if you have dust here, you always got mad. You always can get heals up here. This has a full magic. Dash down here. If you have Butter Sword, just dash through here. Yeah, you might get a sword upgrade, whatever the case may be. Or silver arrows. Typically, you would want to have your hookshot already selected, because you can't change items while an enemy is exploding like that. Try not to fall down, because you have to do it. Hey, half magic! And you can use the little hook shot and do that thing. Oops. Yeah. Alright, and now we are at Aganim. Dose. I usually use spin slash for this. I'm really not the best at Aga, so... It also helps to actually spin your sword. Oh, shit. And then when he's on the ground, you want to take your sword and you want to enter it into his dark palace repeatedly. Alright, now, I'll show you a couple tricks here for Ganon. So Ganon is definitely something that can take some practice here. So we'll come in here. And we'll just do the fight. But usually I like to have the hook shot out. So you can just, you know, depending on this. This is gonna take practice for what you do. Use the hook shot so you don't take damage. We've already hit him enough times. This will be one of those things that we'll show you a trick. Okay, so what you want to do during this time, while you're hitting him and you're getting teleport around, the fourth time he teleports, if this is your first time, or not even first time, but you want to make this fight a hell of a lot easier on you, have a fire source ready. Because after the next time he teleports, the lamp's gonna go out. So, in best case scenario, what you want to do is avoid this fire, and then you mash this as it's finishing up. By doing that, it's a glitch that makes it so that you only have to light this one, and you don't have to light both. So now I could be like, okay, I'm gonna use his silver arrows. Boom. And then you can come over here. You don't have to worry about lighting that right one. So you can always see where he is. It just makes your life a million times easier. Boom. That's how you beat Ganon. Now, I'll show you in the event that you don't have silver arrows. How to do what's called a silverless Ganon fight. Takes a little bit more time. And this is using, like, speedrun strats. So, silverless Ganon is a little bit different. So you can get in a cheap shot or two if you're fast. Charge here. And you can use this pitchfork there to get in extra hits. With Butter Sword, these phases go by really fast. Don't touch Ganon. If you have green mail and say you don't have the blue or red mail, he does 8 hearts of damage. It will wreck your face. Alright, so you want to avoid that. Let's get our glitch. Got our glitch. Okay, so to do silverless Ganon, you're going to be spin attacking. Notice how he turned blue. That's because the timing of when you spin attack is the most important part. You got to do it after he shoots a fire. So shoots fire, avoid him, and then you spin him. You got to be fast. So see, that's one hit. So you walk, avoid it, spin, attack. walk, avoid it, spin, attack. You can get in pretty much two hits per, or 2 attempts at a hit per candlelight. I don't think we'll have it. Yeah, see. But this is pretty much what a silverless Ganon fight looks like. Big tip: use cardinal directions. So you want to go directly left or directly down or up or right. You don't want to use diagonals when doing this. Diagonals will get you hit by the bat, unless you can react like kind of accordingly. So, man, I'm out of practice. Oops, that's good. We have fairy. This is by far the toughest thing to do in the game. If you find yourself in the position to have to do it. If you're new to running the randomizer and everything, I would not recommend really learning this. I would recommend practicing the fight though. And that's Ganon without using the silver arrows. It just takes practice. It's all about timing. The trick is you have to avoid the fire and then spin right before he teleports. He's only able to be hit during that amount of time, and it's takes 16 hits with tempered sword or butter, I think, and then it's like 32 hits with just the master sword. So have fun with that. And if you have just the master sword, you have to do spin attacks to get him into that last phase anyways. So hopefully that was educational enough. I don't know if there's really anything else I didn't really go over. I mean, we did all the dungeons. We got basically everything. I hope I explained like my directions and stuff. So yes, the silver arrow kill is much faster. It's 4 silver arrows, and you can get 3 of them in on 1 hit, depending on where he teleports to. So yeah, I wanted to show both, to show how to do it, the kind of otherwise as well, but with that, guys, that will do it for me today. We'll be back with more Mega Man 2 runs beginning again tomorrow. Speedrunners use the silverless because to get silver arrows takes longer than it does to not to get them. Because you have to do the big bomb and you have to walk. It just adds time. Yeah, and I mean, if you're newer to running the running the randomizers and stuff, by all means, go until you find silvers. And if you unlock Ganon, and you don't have silvers, just go to fight him. He tells you where silvers are, and then just fall down the pit. And then you can go ahead or die, save and quit, whatever you want to do. Find out where the silvers are, then go get them and come back and beat him. It'll just make it a lot easier, you know, for as you start to get more comfortable with the game. My first time doing a no major glitches run, I got to Ganon in about 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours, but I didn't realize that you had to do the spins after he shoots the fire. And then, so I kept putting him into the stun mode where you would use the silver arrows, and it actually doesn't do damage. It only after he does the fire, when he's teleporting, will it do that damage. And I spent 2 hours trying to kill Ganon, silverless, without realizing that I was doing it wrong. Then I realized it and beat him within like 5 minutes. Yes. But with that, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. That's going to do it for me today. We'll be back again tomorrow with Mega Man 2 runs. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more gaming content. It really helps me out. It doesn't cost me anything. Thank you again. Have a great day.